Why did my joke at work get me fired? I made a joke during our Monday morning team meeting and my coworker Vanessa screamed. Not a little gasp or nervous laugh, but an actual horror movie scream that echoed through the entire 5th floor. She knocked over her coffee and ran out of the conference room so fast she left her phone and laptop behind. Everyone else just stared at me with their mouths open, and my manager Keith stood up slowly with this look on his face like I'd just confessed to murder. He told me to stay exactly where I was and not move or speak to anyone while he made a phone call. The other 12 people in the meeting gathered their things in complete silence and filed out without making eye contact with me. I sat there alone in that conference room for 20 minutes, watching the coffee from Vanessa's mug drip onto the carpet, trying to figure out what had just happened. The joke wasn't even that edgy, just something casual I'd said while we were discussing our quarterly sales targets. Everyone had been stressed about the numbers, so I'd tried to lighten the mood with a common phrase I'd heard 1,000 times before. Keith came back with 2 people I'd never seen before, both wearing dark suits and looking extremely serious. They introduced themselves as building security and asked me to follow them to an office on the 2nd floor. The walk through the building was humiliating because word had already spread and people were literally backing away from me in the hallways. Some were crying, others were on their phones, and I heard someone whisper, "I can't believe he actually said that," as I passed. When we got to the office, Keith told me to sit down and wait while he consulted with HR. I pulled out my phone to text my girlfriend about what was happening, but I had no service. The office was clearly designed to block signals, which made my heart start racing because why would they need a signal-blocking room for a normal HR issue? After another 30 minutes, Keith returned with our HR director Monica and a woman in a pantsuit who introduced herself as corporate legal counsel. They sat across from me at the table, and Monica pulled out a folder that already had my name on it. Monica asked me to repeat exactly what I'd said in the meeting, word for word, and I did. The 3 of them exchanged looks, and the lawyer started writing furiously in her notepad. Keith asked if I understood what I'd just said, and I told him honestly that I was completely confused about why everyone was reacting this way. It was just a phrase, something people say all the time when talking about taking action or making a decision. Monica's voice got very quiet and careful as she asked if I'd been present at work during the incident 3 years ago. I had no idea what incident she was talking about because I'd only been at this company for 18 months. Keith's face got even paler, and he asked Monica if that was possible, that I might actually not know. The lawyer said it didn't matter whether I knew or not, the company still had to follow protocol. Monica turned back to me and asked where I'd worked before joining this company. I told her I'd been at a startup in Austin that went bankrupt, then unemployed for 4 months before getting hired here. She wrote all of this down and asked if anyone had told me about the company's history or required me to complete any specific training when I was hired. I remembered doing the standard HR orientation and signing a bunch of forms, but nothing stood out as unusual. Keith muttered something about how the onboarding process had changed after the incident, and maybe people hired after that weren't given the same briefing. The lawyer interrupted and said none of this changed what needed to happen next. She explained that due to the severity of the situation and company policy, my employment was being terminated effective immediately. I started to argue